Tonight on Joy News Prime, 2-year-old boy burned to death in a fire at Apremdo in the Western region. We're there to bring you the latest. We'll also bring you the story of a 9-month-old pregnant woman who's facing stigma despite recovering fully from COVID-19. She shares a story of how her 8-year-old daughter was pelted with stones for being the child of a coronavirus patient.
They stoned my daughter. The community, it was dry okra they asked her to buy. When she just left the house, they started stoning her, and even mothers were sitting under their trees watching children to stone their fellow colleague.
More, the Upper West region is having to deal with an increase in its COVID-19 cases as well as CSM outbreak, which has already claimed scores of lives. And in business,
spare parts dealers submit a list of businesses to benefit from government stimulus package.
A little bit low, yes, a little bit. As compared to before the pandemic, business has come down.
I'm Israel Iron. Remember, Joy News Prime is live on digital terrestrial TV because we're free to air.
My name is Aisha Ibrahim, coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlimle on digital address GA0992539 and on GoTV channel 144 and DSTV channel 421. Please stay with us.
A 2-year-old boy has been burnt beyond recognition in a fire at Apremdo in the Fiakwetiminti municipality in the Western region. Some shops close to the Apremdo market were also burned in the blaze. Relatives of the boy who spoke with Joy News say he was asleep in a mobile money vendor's shop while his mother worked as an apprentice at a tailoring shop close by. In Athalia Kwanzaa's report read to you.
The fire occurred when 2 diesel tankers due to discharge fuel at the station at Apremdo in the Sekondi Takoradi metropolis caught fire. The 2 trucks were parked behind the Apremdo Total filling station, awaiting an order from a pump manager to begin the discharge when the incident occurred. Officers from the Ghana National Fire Service eventually managed to bring the situation under control after some initial difficulties. Western Regional PRO of the Ghana National Fire Service, DAO Emmanuel Boni, spoke to Joy News.
So after extinguishing the fire, we had a hint that one of the shops there was a child lying there. So we went in to excavate in the mobile money vendor shop, and we saw a child body. Our challenge was the crowd. Our challenge was because in firefighting or saving life, every second counts. So the crowd impeded in our discharge of our duty, because as we were pulling our hoses, they were crossing us and other things. So it took the police a hectic time for them to be able to disperse them, for us to be able to extinguish the fire. So our challenge is the crowd and the hydrants, because when the regional commander saw that we don't have hydrant around, he has to mobilize other fire tenders and pumps to come and supply us water, because we need constant supply of water to be able to fight the fire at earliest time.
Some eyewitnesses gave us the accounts.
Maybe the mobile money no na mammy said. Actually, you move from almost a better fan. But yeah, better be fire should take an announcement to say, buy 2 years baby. I was a children. I've been beside office of Aqua. So cook with you, no, so I ban me beard in the day. I am here. Miss Abby, yeah, I'm Mummy, not tanker cast, Baku Stage. A white one. The moon is Jenny free by. Now, tank a new article.
no kwa missing and sister or and short sister now so do go so chin so no one has a minute into also way all about go so chin all about now ocean the person obviously and after na but some no way see her no say ja to one to option it's malamit na djuma mo na mo wunda no person no from e no bona no na ko mo na mo from no I will imagine I'm a fan of where the fan is inside the world. They number one to me,
And correspondent Natalia Kwanzaa joins us from the scene with the very latest. Hello, Ina. What is the situation now?
Well, Israel, everything is calm now. The fire has been brought down by the fire service. This took them about 3 hours to do this due to the number of people as over there. You could also see that they were not observing social distancing over there, and few of the people had nose masks. So everything is calm now. The place has been guarded by police officials to prevent people from entering there because a lot of the residents there wanted to go into that particular shop where the little boy was burnt to ashes.
Now, Ina, tell us also about the children who were trapped.
Israel, it is only this boy who was trapped in there. Apparently, this mobile money vendor who the boy's mother left the boy with had 2 other kids. But when the fire started, he left with his kids and then left the little boy in there. When he came out and they were asking him, where is the boy? He said he cannot find him. So it was only this 2-year-old boy who has been burnt beyond recognition that was trapped in there.
All right, thank you very much, Natalia Kwanzaa, with that update from Apremdo. They're moving on. A 9-month-old pregnant woman at Bolgatanga has been speaking about the taunts she's having to endure from people in her community for being the Upper East Region's first COVID-19 patient. Though Matilda Agamu has since been certified as recovered, she says she's unable to open her shop and trade because the other traders at the market stigmatize and openly abuse her anytime she shows up. The 34-year-old mother, who is expecting her 3rd child any moment from now, describes how her 8-year-old daughter was pelted with stones by other children in their community whilst the adults stood by without offering any help. Albert Sori has more.
Matilda boldly declined when I offered to hide her identity for the purpose of this story. I have nothing to hide, and my identity is already public knowledge, she said. A little over a month ago, a pregnant Matilda was ill and was admitted at the Bolgatanga Hospital's maternity ward. She had sore throat and was showing other symptoms of the coronavirus. She later tested positive for the virus, becoming the first COVID-19 patient in the Upper East region. Matilda recounts her identity and the results of her coronavirus test somehow made it into the public domain.
Immediately my results also came out. I don't know what happened. Someone quickly posted my husband and I on Facebook and told them that we've run away and we are having the virus. Till date, even my family is still searching for the person. We don't even know whether it's a male or female. So the whole news spread in, I can say, the whole Upper East.
This was how people within and outside the community began to stigmatize Matilda and the rest of her family. First, while Matilda was still in isolation at the treatment center, her 8-year-old daughter was put through a rather painful ordeal.
They stoned my daughter. The community, it was Dry Oak Road they asked her to buy. When she just left the house, they started stoning her, and even mothers were sitting under their trees watching children to stone their fellow colleague that she's suffering from COVID-19. She was crying, and this continued, and she has to run for her life. She wept. She wept bitterly. She wept bitterly, and the word that came out from her mouth was that she prays that Mama should come out from this so that the enemy will be ashamed of themselves.
When Matilda recovered from the virus and was discharged from the hospital, she was also met with stigmatization.
When they heard that I've been discharged, I sit in the market to sell. And then they called and told me that I shouldn't come and sit with them, if not that they won't get customers because of my sickness. And even when that thing happened, someone went to the market and told them that this is what I'm suffering from. So they shouldn't allow me to come and sell. I made someone to go and sit there. The person went there, and then the people would just come and say, the woman is suffering from COVID-19 and you are sitting in his container. You won't go home, you'll be affected. So because of the anger, she locked the place and also went to the village. That's my younger sister.
Matilda and her husband are both traders. The husband has also tested positive for the coronavirus and is currently in isolation at the treatment center at the Bolgatanga Hospital. This has resulted in some financial difficulties for Matilda's family because with all that has gone on in the last 1 month, they have not been able to engage in their trading activities.
Now my container is locked up. I can't go to my shop and I can also go to the market. And I'm now 38 weeks. Yes, pregnancy. I'm 38 weeks. So any moment from now, I will be put into bed. And I do not even prepare anything. So right now, I'm appealing to everyone to come and support me, either in finances, including whatever you have. You support. You are not supporting me, but you have to support the baby. And the baby is innocent. And the baby is for God and for all of us.
Matilda has now tested negative for the coronavirus, declared recovered by the Ghana Health Service, and discharged. But her story leaves some questions begging for answers. For instance, how seriously are healthcare personnel treating the issue of respecting the confidentiality of patients in the wake of this coronavirus pandemic? And with all the education going on about the coronavirus, how much of the education is addressing the issue of stigmatization? For Joy News, Albert Sori, reporting from Bolgatanga.
Well, health authorities and even the president have had call to speak against stigmatization and how it hampers efforts to fight COVID-19. We cannot continue to stigmatize people because they have COVID-19. Moving on, some of the veterinary laboratories government said will be adapted to support aggressive testing for coronavirus have since come on stream and are playing a significant role already. With the capacity to process 2,000 samples a day, the Veterinary Services Directorate in Accra has on the quiet been conducting COVID-19 tests. In the following report, Joy News' Latif Idris was at the facility to speak with the technicians who say even though they are professionals, they get disappointed each time they record positives.
In the eye of a storm like COVID, scientific and public health tools are essential.
The World Health Organization has identified testing as critical if COVID-19 plagued countries are to get ahead of the pandemic. Ghana remains one of the leading countries conducting tests for the virus on the African continent, and this has largely been because it's been able to add on to the number of testing centers such as the Veterinary Service Directorate. It sits on a 2-kilometer square parcel of land straddling the ring road approaching Labadi here in Accra. It may not be an Oguchi, but it is also delivering, albeit quietly.
We are good to go.
Yeah.
In a highly secured environment, head of the Accra Veterinary Laboratory, Dr. Theophilus Odum, gave us exclusive access to the Level 3 testing facility with a world-class testing equipment.
The testing procedure involves a lot, right from the extraction procedure to master maize preparation, adding of template. In all these process or stages, one might make a mistake. That is why we could say that the sample could be positive or negative or something like that. But however, when you have well-trained staff and you are using machines which are highly recommended by WHO, and you have a laboratory with a standard that we have, I think it is devoid of all contaminations and the doubt that we have.
Leader of Ghana's COVID-19 test team, Dr. Samuel Kaba Akuria, says the coming on board of the Veterinary Service Laboratory does not only reduce pressure on other testing facilities, but also puts Ghana ahead of the pandemic.
The first thing is that it augments our testing capacity. So now this department can do as many as 2,000 plus in a day. So what it leads to, the second thing is that now when people take samples, when people are tested, they wouldn't spend a lot of time waiting for results. The third thing is that it reduces the work pressure in other centers like Noguchi.
The technicians who spoke with Joy News say they sometimes get broken when a sample turns out positive after a test.
Whenever I see a positive sample, it really hurts me, and the first thing that comes in mind is where is this individual? Where is this individual? Is the person with a family? Is the person with friends out there? What is the person actually doing? Is the person in the hospital? What is really going on?
Anytime we are done with a sample and there's positive inside, I really feel bad about it, because I don't know who the person is, where the person is, and I also got family at home. We are working on these samples, and when you go home, your kids, your wife, everybody coming around you, you want to hug you, and like, oh, today we got positive, oh, I'm going home, everybody is going to come around me again. It's kind of bad feelings.
The technicians are putting their lives on the line to get Ghana ahead of the pandemic. But sources at the facility tell Joy News the absence of PPEs has potential of truncating their work, even as they continue to receive samples from Noguchi for testing.
Some industry players say they are yet to fully enjoy the government-announced 50% reduction in electricity consumption, the free water delivery, as well as the stimulus packages. President Akufo-Addo in April announced the package as part of government measures to cushion Ghanaians and industries from the effects of the coronavirus pandemic. It is unclear when the country will be opened for normal life to prevail, but some industries players say further delay in releasing the packages will lead to total collapse and job losses. Tuesday at the Jubilee House, the president announced a further 3 billion cedis package available for businesses to exploit at a meeting with members of the hospitality industry.
Apart from this 600 million fund for SMEs, there are also two other sources of money that are being specifically directed at you, amongst others, but you are an important part of it. The commercial banks have agreed with the Minister of Finance and the Bank of Ghana to raise some 3 billion cedis by way of loans that they're going to give specific industries. The hospitality sector is one of them. And the Bank of Ghana, again with the support of the Minister of Finance, has worked towards reducing interest rates and even putting in place a moratorium on the payment of principal and I believe of interest on monies. So there's a package there also that is available and accessible to you. There's a subsequent package that is also being currently negotiated between the ministry and the Bank of Ghana for a much larger sum of money to be pumped into the economy to support and empower the more productive sectors of the economy. And once again, the hospitality sector is one of it. So this, I don't think you should make too much of a fetish of this 600 million cedis. It's not the only sum of money that is going to be available to you for the recovery. There are other sums, even more substantial sums than that, which are going to be, which you're going to be able to have access to. I'm not quite sure about the dedicated fund, but these are the ongoing discussions that we have to look at.
But Chairman of the Association of Ghana Industries in charge of cosmetics, Sandy Oseajiman, says the group is yet to receive any support.
We're still waiting. In fact, I've been in communication with some of the people involved in making sure the stimulus reach people. From what I understand, the modalities should be about ready now. So we're waiting to see what we need to do to understand what it would take to try to access this funds. People in my sector are in much need of these funds. Of course, you can tell we're not the only company struggling. Most manufacturing companies from every level that you look at it is struggling. And I think an intervention would help. My concern is this intervention going to be enough, given the fact that so many people might want to tap into it? So not until I can see the modalities and what it would take, the minimum, the maximum that a company can access, I can't say too much what the impact is going to be at this time.
So just to clarify, you haven't seen disbursements yet, and you don't even know the modalities for qualification yet?
Yes, I don't.
Let's get to the Upper West region, where as its confirmed cases of COVID-19 continue to rise, so are its cerebrospinal meningitis cases. It's now a region hit by a pandemic and an outbreak. The Upper West region has recorded 11 additional cases of COVID-19, bringing the total number to 19. One person has fully recovered and reintegrated into the community. That's according to a statement issued by the Upper West Regional Minister, Hafiz bin Saleh. The statement reads, on meningitis, 30 more cases have been recorded, with one death over the past 2 weeks. This brings the total number of cases in the region to 303, with 44 deaths. Nandom, Nadoli and Jurapa continue to report the majority of the cases. However, none of the districts in the region is currently experiencing any epidemic. Laboratory investigation continues to show that the majority of the cases are caused by which currently has no vaccine. Let's go on to the phone lines and speak to Upper West regional correspondent Rafiq Salam. Good evening to you, Rafiq. What are the general sentiments among residents about the rising cases of these two deadly diseases?
The mood of residents in the Upper West region hasn't changed since we started experiencing the numbers right from the second week of February. You know, we are now in week 17 since the start of the counting of the confirmed cases. As you rightly put it, 303 cases have not been confirmed. People have not been confirmed to have the disease, and then also 44 people are dead. But let me also tell you that these results that these statistics that are being ruled out from the Ghana Health Services Directorate are weekly reports. And so these are reports that usually comes either on Sunday or on Monday. And so what we are witnessing is with 17 edition of those reports. But when you go deep to look at an analysis of those figures, you know that when you go to our health facilities, talking about Jurapa, Nadoli, and Nando, treatment for the cerebrospinal meningitis (CSM) wouldn't be more than 10, because these are results that are delayed. Let me put it this way, because the samples are taken. We don't do the testing in Upper West region here. Is done internally. So by the time that the results are in, either the person is covered and then also discharged from the health facility, or the person is dead. And even some of the results turn out to be negative. And so if we visit our health facilities and now talking about Jirapa, Nazule, and Nandom, they are lying on the CSM belt. The number of cases, the number of people having CSM in those wards wouldn't be more than 10.
Rafiq Salam is our Upper West Region correspondent. Thank you so much for the update. Into Parliament, Minority spokesperson on Mines and Energy, Adams Mutawakilu, is asking Vice President Bawumia to apologize to Ghanaians for his recent remarks seeking to applaud President Akufo-Addo for handling the COVID-19 pandemic a lot better than his predecessor managed the country's last energy crisis. The Vice President, who was reacting to comments made by former President Mahama, suggested the current government is handling the situation a whole lot better. Mr. Mutawakilu, however, says the assertion is inaccurate and smack of hypocrisy.
Under this OTCP Sankofa Ginyame project, we had the largest, under his regime 2015, the largest investment in our oil industry in the sub-Saharan Africa. World Bank invested $4 billion and the partners invested $3.7 billion. A total of $7.9 billion for us to be able to have our own domestic gas. That will be the third one, because we have the Jubilee gas, the TEN gas, and now Sankofa Ginyame. All these three took place under the NDC regime of 8 years. I want Vice President Bawumia to tell us one intervention that he and his boss, President Nana Akufo-Addo, had done in the energy sector to take credit. But in any case, even with this huge investment that President Mahama had done in the power sector, we still have done so. Not because we don't have generation, but just because we cannot buy fuel to power the plants. And you come and tell me that President Mahama couldn't manage himself. He should go and sleep over it, rethink, and look at the month in which we are as Muslims, and come to apologize to the people of Ghana for lying to them. The second one he did indicate was that under President Nana Akufo-Addo, there had been reduction in tariffs. I want to remind him, in 2013, President Mahama reduced tariffs by 25%. Let's do the analysis. You did 17, not up to 25. And we want him to understand that it is not any legacy that President Nana Akufo-Addo has done. It has been done by President Mahama, and much better than what they have done. So he cannot make it as if it is only President Nana Akufo-Addo who had reduced tariffs for Ghanaians. No. And I want to entreat him. Anytime he wants to come out, he must look at things critically.
With the live on Joy News Prime, still to come in this bulletin, spare parts dealers submit list of businesses to benefit from government stimulus package.
A little bit low, as compared to before the pandemic, business has come down.
There is more in business when we return from the break. Welcome back. Time now for business. Daryl Kwao has all the details. Hi, Daryl.
Hi, Aisha.
Some good news for spare parts dealers.
Not good news. You're talking about the stimulus package. They have submitted a list for consideration.
Well,
that's a list of business. Let's see how that pans out.
But they'll be considered.
Time is running out. Businesses are losing money. We begin with the Spare Parts Dealers Association, which says that it is working on a list of its members to benefit from government's 600 million cedi stimulus package. Their businesses are not being spared the impact of the coronavirus pandemic. Charles Aite has more.
These are uncertain times for spare part dealers at Abossey Okai as the coronavirus bites hard on revenues. Spare part dealers are compiling a list of over 100 shop owners who will be benefiting from the 600 million cedi stimulus package for SMEs. Here is co-chairman of the Abossey-Okai Spare Parts Dealers Association, Clement Boateng.
So, Abossey-Okai Spare Parts Association, which is part of GUTA, is also in the process of compiling, names of its members, because when we visited the National Board for Small Scale Industries, they told us that even though we've already sent list of associations to the Trade Ministry, we should also compile individual members of respective associations, to them, so that they, being the agency that are working on it, will do the final data and then send it to the appropriate authorities for the disbursement of the package.
COVID-19 has led to the shortage of some stock here. Suppliers have suspended production due to the outbreak. They say although there are alternatives to some of the products they import from China, the associated challenges have slowed down their businesses.
This place is home to thousands of car engines that are being imported day in and day out to meet demand here at Abossey-Okai. I've been interacting with the secretary in charge of this entire place, and he says importation cuts due to the COVID-19 has left them with no option than to woo customers who are out of the country as we speak now. This is going to impact on sales. It's going to leave the jobs of most of these guys in jeopardy and the entire business on a balance.
It has affected everybody. Affected everybody. But we must keep our fingers crossed. Now, because of the borders and these things have been closed, we can't do that until everything is clear. So we have to go over the old stock, and then the goods we have imported.
I stopped by the shop of James Otu, a dealer who fears his business could tumble should the coronavirus linger.
Our friends from outside, like Takrade and the rest, they are afraid to come because of the situation in Accra. The figures are very high, so they are afraid to come. Yeah, business is a little bit low, as compared to before the pandemic. Business has come down.
Meanwhile, the Association of Ghana Industries is asking government to speed up disbursement of the stimulus package to save collapsing businesses, said Chuma Kwabwa is president.
On the one hand, a stimulus package or a relief package. On the other hand, it's going to be a loan that has to be paid back. So if you are ensuring that the loans that are given out is paid back, then you need to have the right modalities. Otherwise, you have a challenge in getting the money back. So perhaps that explains why it is delaying. So you need to look at all the intricacies of it and make sure that you develop it. And you see, when you're coming up with the policy, you need to do it in a way that it doesn't become a counterproductive policy. So you need to think through and do the impact assessment and so many things to get it right. But I can fully agree with you that definitely industries, because of the crisis, they're in a hurry to move. And therefore, if you're coming up with any package, you need to really fast track it and make it happen soonest. But I'm mindful of the fact that proper thing has to be done, so that when you come up with it, it wouldn't become, one of the usual policies that sometimes you backtrack and go and change this and go and change that. So maybe it's worth waiting and getting it right than to rush it and then have challenges with it.
Well, in another development, some members of the Association of Ghana Industries have refused to expand their businesses in Ghana. Blue Sky is one of such companies and a member of the Free Zone, says it is currently paying 15% taxes, which should not be. CEO of the company, Ruth Ejay, at the Joy Business Industrialization Forum, said her company moved to Benin because of the lifetime free tax.
Other countries come here to study what we have. They go back and they actually improve what we have in Ghana.
So what did Benin have that we
Benin
didn't
has
have?
lifetime free zone status. That's the first thing, that's automatically. And one of the things they used to continue saying is that what you get in Ghana will give you the same or will double it or will improve it. And this is somebody hungry for industrialization in the country. Do you understand? They've created, I think the special zone is a laudable idea. But how are we managing the free zones one before we go into the special zone? Is it the same? What are the differences? Because before free zone started, it wasn't an enclave. It started with different codes like Blue Skies is. Because the conditions is you can get closer to the agriculture sector, You can either be in the industrial zone and all that.
Raw materials are.
But I think everything wants to be centralized in one place, which is not a bad idea. Because it's one of the things that Benin is also trying to set up. But then you can still do what we did, which is what we've done in Benin. Set up and register as a free zone. But then the conditions are improved conditions of what Ghana has here. So why are we not, already we have good systems. Why are we not applying the good systems we have?
For business for now, up next is sports. Gary Al Smith has some important news about the Ghana Premier League.
Thank you for staying with us on Joy News Prime. I'm Gary Al Smith, and this is the sport. The Ghana Football Association had until the 5th of May to respond to the Confederation of African Football on a decision on what to do as to whether to cancel the ongoing Ghana Premier League season or to annul it or to suspend it. Well, they did ask, like I told you, for a little time to reach a decision, but in the meantime, they have issued a statement that the season remains postponed until at least the 30th of June. We have more in this report.
The Ghana Football Association has announced that the 2019-2020 football season remains suspended until June 30, 2020 because of the coronavirus pandemic. As part of the measures to control the spread of the virus, the government banned all public gatherings, including sporting activities in March. This led to the GFA suspending the Ghana Premier League and other competitions. Last week, the Confederation of African Football wrote to member associations to confirm the future of their competitions by close of May 5, 2020. Congo, Niger, Liberia, Ethiopia, Mauritius, Kenya, Guinea and Angola have all taken the decision to end their competitions. However, the GFA has decided against ending the season following an Executive Council meeting on Tuesday. In a statement, the FA said the Executive Council at its meeting on Tuesday, May 5, decided that the status quo remains, stating that the association is in various engagements with the government, the Health Ministry, the Ghana Health Service, the Ministry of Youth and Sports, the GFA medical team, CAF and FIFA. The Executive Council further stated that the association will continue to monitor the situation and would revisit it on June 30, 2020 after a careful assessment and evaluation of the issue and take further decisions.
Still on this story, and a member of the CAF medical team, Dr. Prince Pambo, says it will be inappropriate for the Ghana Premier League to resume in the wake of the COVID-19 outbreak.
In sports, what we have control over and what we should be thinking about at the moment is to plan how football would return post-COVID. So if football is supposed to be returning in the next 3, 4, 5 months, how is it going to return? Because believe you me, COVID has come to stay with us as one of the disease conditions we'll be treating normally in our various clinics going forward. So if football is even supposed to return, how is it going to return responsibly? So those are the things we need to be looking at now. So yes, back to your premise. With all these numbers, with our numbers keep going up, we haven't gotten to the point where our curve is flattening yet. Is it appropriate to be thinking or to want to force it to start now? The answer is no.
Many African countries are also having debates as to whether to start their domestic leagues or not. And right now, we will give you a summary of what the situation is across Africa as Ghana looks to start. In Algeria, they are one of the leagues that are scheduled to restart. So they want to restart in mid-June. Burundi also want to start on the 1st of June. Lesotho have said they want to start, but they are yet to determine a date. For Mauritania, they have postponed until September to give them some time. South Africa want to do that on the 31st of July, pending a decision on Thursday, and Tanzania also want to do it at a date to be determined, while Tunisia want to do it later this month. Now, some of the leagues have cancelled their leagues, their seasons altogether. They have not named champions. There will be no relegation or promotion. Some of them are Angola, Burkina Faso, Ethiopia, Liberia, Mali, and Niger. These have no champions, relegation, or promotion. Now, some of them have actually ended and named champions. Congo have named AS Otoho as their champion. Kenya have named Gor Mahia as their champion. So, Ghana has all these countries and the way they have handled their COVID-19 reactions to look forward to. What will the GFA decide? We'll find out. Thank you for your time. I'm Gary L. Smith. Bye-bye.
All right, it's time for Showbiz. And hello, Aisha.
Hi, Israel. How are you?
Okay. I'm fine, thank you. How about you?
I'm doing great. Becky is here.
Yes, thank you guys for having me on your award-winning bulletin. I really love this. You guys.
Thank you for coming
What's
around.
the award, though? I mean, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, so.
But what's happening in showbiz is Frida, the lyrical beef going on between Eno, Sister Fia, and Frida. I know it's a bit complicated, so we put something small together for you. Aisha, we have to do something.
They have good voices, but I'm not enthused about the insults. I mean,
yeah. So what Frida is saying that this is just it's just something for the industry. The industry is boring, and so this is what we need in the industry.
The only way they can make us happy is to insult each other.
I can't say, but Frida, everybody.
We be cool. We are cool.
Cool in what sense?
I mean, she's doing her best. She's doing great in the industry, and I'm also doing best. I'm good. I'm doing my best.
Is she a friend?
We are not friends, but we are colleagues in the industry.
Have you ever spoken to her?
Oh yeah, there are so many times we've met, and I like her. She's an easygoing person. I like her spirit. She's a good person. She's really nice, and we've met a couple of times, and we talk and all that. But that doesn't mean that if somebody is making noise in the industry and you are friends or you are cool with the person, you don't have to speak your mind.
You need to put the person in the right place.
You need to speak your mind, but that doesn't mean that I'm mentioning anybody's name. You get me?
I mean, and how's your relationship like with Eno Barani?
Oh, Eno, senior woman, I really respect her. We are good. But I wouldn't say she is my friend, but we are good. I really respect her. I met her in when I hadn't even started rapping, Eno was there. So I always give her that respect. But we are not friends, and she too is my colleague in the industry. So sometimes beef is also good for the culture. It's an industry, and it makes people so happy and all that. So sometimes it is necessary. It's just that everything that has an advantage has a disadvantage. But then, I feel like, there hasn't been any day or any time that these female artists have come together to do anything. So if we want to speak our mind, I mean, we can.
So Aisha, they're basically speaking their mind, telling us things
is good for the
industry.
I don't know what Israel thinks about that.
Easy.
Okay, so in my case, I feel that yes, some level of beefing is allowed, but like Aisha, you're saying, when they start actually insulting themselves, then it gets a bit too dirty. We want to keep it clean, and for me, the person who's able to drop the bars without, using explicit, and going dirty is the one who wins for me.
Okay. Sure, I'm not sure that's going to happen anytime soon.
Okay, so you envisage that the beef will continue?
It will continue, but taking off the insult and all
they need to pause at a time and just look at what they're doing and probably do the right thing.
COVID has taken over. We don't really have anything going on.
Thank you very much.
Anytime.
Becky, for bringing us a showbiz.
The Community Nurses Association of Ghana has renewed its call for justice in the suspected murder of a colleague earlier this year in the Ashanti region. Ruth Eshun was found dead close to her Ayum New Site residence in the Bosumtwi district of the Ashanti region on Tuesday, February 4, 2020. 2 suspects arrested in connection with the incident are still undergoing trial, but the association says the process has been slow. Its president, Esther Boama, hints members are contemplating petitioning the Chief Justice over the matter. She spoke when the group made a donation of assorted food and other items to the bereaved family. There's more in this report.
Ruth, a mother of 3, was found dead at a secluded area close to a Yum News site residence in the Bosomchi district of the Ashanti region on Tuesday, February 4, 2020. She was said to have left the house the day before and did not return. The police arrested Mason apprentice Kofi Garaba and 1 other suspect to assist in investigation. This led to members of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association to mount a campaign to seek justice for the deceased. Her husband, Kwakwahin, is worried infraction he is observed is likely to delay prosecution of suspects.
So how can prosecutor fail to attend court twice and not telling me why the case cannot be heard? The court judicial staff are not telling me what is happening. The investigator is also not telling me why the prosecutor is not attending courts.
Madam Esther Boama is warning her outfit will exploit different avenues to seek justice for Ruth.
It's so painful. Our sister didn't die a natural death, and we will not leave it to die the way we are saying it. I think our husband just spoke to you. He's been in court several times. It's like initially they attached importance to it, but now nothing whatsoever is seen. And it's uncalled for him to go to court and prosecutor refuses to attend to court twice without any tangible reason. And even the latest one, you said, I will meet you in court tomorrow. For him and some of my people to get there, sit there, nobody telling them anything, seeing the court people packing their things going out, for him to ask what is happening, say, your case is not coming out. And he has chatted the person. Up to now, no response. So it's like it is leaving some dark thoughts in our minds, which we want it to be cleared. How can a suspect be granted bail 2 weeks without the knowledge of the husband of the deceased? It is never done anywhere. So what is happening?
Reporting for Joy News, Kwesi Deborah.
The Upper West Regional Commander of the Ghana Police Service has revealed that it will soon take to court persons arrested for flouting the Prohibition and Restrictions Act. According to the command, 60 persons have so far been arrested for breaking the law, even as it pursues others currently on the run. The regional commander says those arrested will be arraigned. DCOP Francis Awaje Nyako disclosed this when Apsonic Motors donated Veronica Bucket's infrared thermometers, nose masks and liquid soaps to the Upper West Command to help in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. The regional correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from WA.
According to the Upper West Commander of the Ghana Police Service, DCOP Francis Awaje Nyako, since the presidential ban imposed on all social gatherings, including conferences, workshops, funerals, festivals, political rallies, church activities, and other related events, the command has made arrests of 68 persons who flouted the directive. He stated that most of the suspects arrested were engaged in wedding and naming ceremonies.
Yeah, we've made several arrests, and currently we've opened dockets, but we are looking for the kingpins. The kingpins are those who organize those engagements. And when we are able to arrest them, we will arraign them before the competent court of jurisdiction. Some were engaged in naming ceremony, others too were engaged in wedding ceremony. And so these are the 2 areas that we arrested the culprits for not respecting the social distancing.
DCOP Awaje Nyako reminded the public that the Prohibition and Restriction Act is still in force and call on the people to abide by it.
We are appealing to the public to respect the social distancing and then the Prohibition and Restriction Act. And we believe that when these are respected, at the end of the day, we'll come out of this pandemic without people contracting such disease.
DCOP Aboajin-Nyarko made a statement when Apsonic Motors donated Veronica buckets, liquid soap, nose masks, infrared thermometers, and reflectors to the Upper West Command of the Ghana Police Service to help in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. Upper West Region's agent of Apsonic Motors, Alhaji Zakaria Zeblim, presented the items on behalf of the company.
We are giving to them because of the safety of the people in the region and the way we see how police are doing in the region. They are performing very good work. And individually, we have to also show our concern to them so that they also know that what they are doing, the region appreciate of what they are doing to the people. So that is why we are giving this thing to them to help.
Also made similar donations to the Ghana Immigration Service, the Customs Division, and the War Small Tax Office of the Ghana Revenue Authority. Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam.
Elsewhere, frontline workers are calling for involvement of health workers' unions in the distribution of personal protective equipment to address the persistent shortage. Ashanti Regional Division Chairman of the Ghana Medical Association, Dr. Pakwesi Baidu, says despite continued donation of the materials, complaints arrive nationwide about unavailability. He tells Love FM's David Akwete the situation is becoming more difficult and making health workers lose their passion.
We have facilities that are rationing masks. You previously may use 1 or 2 depending, because there are some procedures you do. By the time you are done, your mask is soiled, you may have blood splashing all over and may need to change it. But here is the case, you've been given a specific number, and at times they count the number of people there and give you the exact number. So it's really challenging. There are instances you will come across an emergency and you asking for this, you asking for that, they are not there. But you cannot sit down, fold your arms and watch that pregnant woman bleeding to death. You can't wait and say until you provide me with all the hood, mask, goggles, I am not going to take care of the people. You know, your training kicks in and then you act based on the available resources you have. And these sometimes may predispose our members, not only doctors. So it's mentally draining on all personnel in the healthcare delivery system. As our national association, we're in touch with our members, monitoring the number of theater spaces, ICU spaces, ventilators, masks, gloves, and everything. And it keeps coming out that you call most of the facilities, and the thing is, this is not there, that is not there, that is not there. We think the Health Services Workers Union or the recognizable associations within the health service delivery system, especially the Ghana Medical Association, should be involved in the distribution of these items, because if it's at the national level or you bring it to the region, the Ghana Medical Association is involved. We know where the things are needed most, though every facility is stressed in terms of resources, but some need it more than others. And if we have enough for every center, we will be able to follow up and ensure that the facility A or B got this number, and we will be able to track the usage. If even the president can take this one up, or the regional minister or ministers can take this up and make it a policy statement, is going to ease the pressure on various hospitals, is going to boost the morale of the cleaners, nurses, pharmacists, administrators, doctors to perform our duties.
The Coastal Development Authority has embarked on a comprehensive education exercise in the Greater Accra region as part of efforts to enforce the mandatory use of face masks. The exercise, which comes on the back of coins by the Health Minister, will also see the authority distributing masks and sanitizers. The authority CEO, Jerry Ahmed Shaib, announced this when he presented 70,000 face masks and sanitizers to the regional minister for onward distribution to the critical stakeholders. Fisher folk traders, commercial drivers, food vendors, and the vulnerable are expected to be beneficiaries of the initiative. Jerry Ahmed Shaib says the education project has become necessary if the country is to win the war against COVID-19.
The Wear Your Mask campaign is designed to raise awareness and knowledge of some of our people at the greatest risk of infection, but who are also strategically placed to advance efforts aimed at public education. In addition to educating the public on observing preventive protocols, the Coastal Development Authority, which is CODA, in collaboration with the Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council, will donate 70,000 face masks to fishers, commercial drivers, traders, and market women in all the 34 constituencies in the Greater Accra region through the MMDAs as part of our efforts by the authority to help protect the people at the greatest risk of being infected by the virtue of their occupation. The rationale is simple. We are motivated by two factors to undertake this campaign. Firstly, as an urgent response by the authority to help stop the spread of the coronavirus pandemic through public education and humanitarian support. And secondly, as an initiative in line with our commitment to enhance quality health service delivery within the Coastal Development Zone. Now, the beneficiaries have indicated already. Our focus will be to educate the selected beneficiaries for them to appreciate the magnitude of the situation we are confronted with and to take all measures, all steps to ensure their safety and the safety of their loved ones. Commercial drivers are an important part of our lives. The to and fro movement, as they commute, they transport commuters in their trotros and taxis. It is therefore crucial for trotro drivers and maids to understand the issues surrounding the pandemic in order for them to enforce preventive measures as passengers join their vehicles. We need you to wear the mask and wear it at all times, apart from when you are going to sleep and eat, and when you are all by yourself. It is the droplets we are trying to prevent. The more droplets, the real likelihood of what? More transmission. So please, all we are here to do is to continue with the education, take it on a larger scale, and ensure that people are well educated on the use of the mask.
The Greater Accra Regional Minister also asked other individuals and institutions to emulate the gesture by CODA and charge the populace to adhere to the laid-down protocols to prevent a surge in the number of active cases.
Everybody in the Greater Accra region is required to own and wear a face mask before being allowed into most public places. However, you agree with me that not everyone has the means to acquire or purchase one. It is against this background that we cherish the kind gesture demonstrated by CODA this afternoon. I wish to take this golden opportunity to make a clarion call on well-meaning Ghanaians and stakeholders to donate face masks to support vulnerable people in our communities. Let us all put our shoulders to the wheel to ensure that we win the fight against the COVID-19 outbreak. I would like to appeal to all beneficiaries of these masks and the general public to ensure that you adhere to the procedures for wearing and removing the mask.
Police Director of Operations Kwesi Fori also said that police have started full enforcement of the mandatory wearing of face masks and social distancing, adding that a number of arrests have already been made.
I assure you and the chiefs of Ghana State that we will do whatever it takes to enforce this aspect of the COVID exercise. And that 3 days ago, the Accra Regional Commander has already started following your discussion with the Regional Commander. And we are doing everything possible to make sure that we abide by that. But ordinary people on the street, in our market, and in our communities are not taking this directive seriously. Okada riders have also tried to abuse this protocol. We have arrested over 500 motorbikes. Most of them have been taken to court and fined 120 million cedis of Ghana, in default 4 years imprisonment. And a lot is being done by the police in this area. And we will continue to make sure that RESEC decision becomes so binding in the city. Therefore, I would like to entreat the public, especially the youth, to take it seriously. It is a pandemic that is attacking everybody. And for us, we have been lucky. That situation have not gone bad due to prudent policy decisions initiated by government and the people of Ghana. But we should not allow those who feel they are not prepared, to sacrifice for the state, to assist in ensuring good health and public security. We're going to clamp down on them seriously, arrest them, and put them before court.
More youth are getting infected with COVID-19 than adults in the Ashanti region. Statistics from the Regional Health Directorate show 50% of 163 confirmed cases fall below 50 years, with the youngest at 10. Authorities say 17 of the region's 43 districts have recorded confirmed cases of the virus, with Obuasi municipality leading with 47. Ohemen Teria of our health desk reports.
At least 119 of 164 persons who have contracted COVID-19 as at May 6, 2020 are aged between 10 and 49. 49 cases are in the age brackets of 20 and 29. 33 of them range from 30 to 39, and 11 are under 19 years. Patients between 40 and 49 years accounted for 26 of confirmed cases. Ashanti Regional Health Director Dr. Emmanuel Tinkran revealed the youngest COVID-19 victim in the region is a 10-year-old.
People ask, so when is COVID-19 going to end? What I will tell you is that only God knows. That is the truth. Because if you make a mistake and you lose your guide, then it will be disastrous. So what we are saying is that whatsoever measures that we are taking so as to reduce the impact of COVID-19, we should make sure that we don't compromise whatsoever we are doing so as to jeopardize the health and security of people. If you look at our data, you realize that this time is the young people who are basically infected. It's because they are taking the risk.
Dr. Tinkran blames high infections among the youth on recklessness. He warns the situation cannot get better when risk perception among the youth remains high.
Young people always, and especially male, always want to take risk. How many old people do you see in town? How many old people? You see, when you are getting to a certain age, then your risk perception change. And when you go to town and you see what is going on, no, you don't have to dispute it. Because I can, even without any test, tell you that if people are going to get infected, then it's the young men.
Meanwhile, health authorities are targeting high-risk persons whose work exposes them to large traffic in a new mass testing regime. Dr. Tinkran says the move is part of efforts to reorganize and redesign COVID-19 management protocols.
We will adopt the principle of tracing, testing, and isolation. That is the basic principle. This time we are going to focus basically on the high-risk group. When we talk about the high-risk group, we mean people who frequently come into contact with one another. For instance, commercial drivers, barbers, hairdressers, market women who are always in touch with people. We can add the security agencies. And then any person who thinks that he is a high risk is also allowed to be tested. So the mass screening that we are doing will focus basically on the high risk group. And then the routine surveillance will be strengthened by picking more cases, people who are sick.
From Kumasi, Ohemen Teria reporting.
Still in Kumasi, authorities at the Kumasi Central Prisons are calling for urgent action to decongest the facility, which is heavily overcrowded. Originally built to house 800 inmates, the facility currently accommodates almost 2,000 inmates, almost 3 times its capacity. Ashanti Regional Deputy Director of Prisons says despite the strict adherence to COVID-19 protocols, new inmates have to be quarantined, but there is no space. Osman Tesembedo spoke when President of Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry donated assorted items worth 12,000 cedis to the prison. Prince Appiah has more in this report.
Congestion and attendant health challenges at the Kumasi Central Prison have persisted for years. Though the prison is observing most of the COVID-19 protocols, officials are worried about having to quarantine new inmates despite limited space. Mr. Usman Tesembedu is the second in command at the Kumasi Central Prisons.
We wash our hands, we test our temperature before we enter. Our biggest problem is the quarantine. As far as the COVID-19 is concerned, we are made to quarantine some of the new inmates who come in from our courts. So that is our biggest problem, but we are putting up to it. We have been able to segregate some of the cells to be able to quarantine some of the new inmates who are brought in from the court, because we cannot refuse the judge's order from the court of competent jurisdiction. So we are doing our best, and then we need assistance so that we can decongest some of the prisons establishments that we have in the country.
Skin diseases are common among prisoners as a result of the overcrowding. Chamber of Commerce President Nana Dr. Appiah Dankawoso donated 100 boxes of carbolic soap, among others, to the prison. Mr. Tesembedu explains the package will help in treating inmates of the skin diseases.
This is a prison that was meant to house only 800 inmates, but now house about 1,921 as we speak now. It can go as far as 2,000. So it speaks about what? Congestion. And whenever there's congestion, there's heat, it will lead to skin diseases. Unfortunately, some of them too don't take their sanitation seriously. They don't take their bath. That will also lead to the skin disease that have been happening as far as the prison is concerned.
How is this going to translate into supporting you to address it?
This is going to help a long way because we are going to provide them or supply them. Sometimes the supply is in short demand. Now that it has come, everybody or every inmate will have the opportunity of getting one of these soap to take the bath.
Meanwhile, existing feeding grant of 1 cedi 80 pesos per inmate remains another major concern.
So that we can get enough food for them, because we feed them on 1 cedi 80 pesos. I mean 1 cedi 80 pesos, read my lips. It's nothing to write home about. So we appeal to you that they increase the feeding rate of inmates.
Nana Dr. Dankawoso wants relevant authorities to pay attention to the plight of prisoners.
The people here are many. You know, they are in smaller rooms and they are, the place is so appalling. And so we appeal to the public and the individuals who have it to come to their aid and support them. We have adopted the Kumasi Central Prison and that of the Nsawam prisons. We try to come and support them.
Prince Appiah reporting.
He is known as a father for all and often referred to as King Solomon for his sense of judgment. As Asantehene Otumfuo said, to the second marks his 70th birthday today. My colleague Erastus Asaridonko has been speaking to a historian and servant of the Menhir Palace, Osebun Susafo Kansanka, who has been giving us a glimpse into the king's private life.
Born Berma Kwekudia on 6 May 1950, the 16th occupant of the Golden Stool is 5th child and 3rd son of his mother, the late Asantehene Nana Afiakobi Sewampin II. Otumfuo's primary education started in Kumasi and continued in 1964 at Sehwiyoso Secondary School. He followed up with accountancy studies in 1971 at the Institute of Professional Studies, now University for Professional Studies, Accra. Otumfuo studied human resources management and public administration at the London Metropolitan University. As a senior consultant in Canada and England between 1981 and 1985. He has been resourceful in many entrepreneurial ventures before being installed as the Asantehene on April 26, 1999. Researcher and historian Osei Bonsu Safo Kantanka describes him as a great family man.
Well, he's a father of everybody, but he married. He's married thrice in his life. The first one had 2 children, 2 males, and the second had no children. Then the present one he is married to has 2 children. Over and above all his own biological children, he's adopted more than 80 children whom he treats as his own children. And even apart from that, adding up to about 100 children, he has still many, many more he is responsible for. He pays for their everyday life, their school fees, and many, many more. So you can say that he is a father of everybody.
We have also been expanding and modernizing.
Otumfuo has been described as fair, just and firm in his kinship role, but in his personal life, close associates find him kind-hearted, humble and peaceful.
He's the nicest person you can ever imagine. He has a personal touch. When you meet him once, it will be for a lifetime. You will definitely have good memories of him. He's very easygoing, but he's just somebody who is very strict to his traditional rules and his customs as well.
He's a very sociable person if you know him personally. He's very good, good-hearted, very kind human being. I don't know if you have spoken to any of his friends or families. I mean, anything that you ask of him, he'll give it to you. He'll go beyond, in our chieftaincy, he'll go beyond Ashanti region to do a lot of things for all regions in Ghana.
One of his nephews, Nana Atapu Kwajaman, sums up his interest in education, which has endeared him to the hearts of many people, especially for his education fund.
Told me even before he ascended the throne was that he believes that the greatest asset every human being should have or should be given is education. And he, even when I was in Achimoto school, he was living in Accra and he took particular interest in my education. And it came as no surprise that when he ascended the throne, he established the Otumfuo Education Fund. So education is very key to him, and he makes sure that not only those who are his kith and kin, but all and sundry who are brilliant and needy, he set up a fund to invest in that.
Many know him as the king of the Ashantis. In fact, he has earned the accolade King Solomon, because when he assumed the throne, he was able to resolve many chieftaincy issues that have been on the table for years, within months. He will be remembered for so many things. Today, in the mid of the coronavirus pandemic, not many people could cross that road to be able to wish him well. But his name will forever live on as the wise king who ruled fairly and just. Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaredonko, Kumasi.
Welcome back, everybody, to the news time for some business news. Tax consultant William Demitia has backed calls by some manufacturing firms for government to reintroduce a former tax scheme where the National Health Insurance Levy and GET Fund were combined as VAT. According to him, the decoupling of the levies has put additional burden on businesses. Mr. Demitia was speaking at the Joy Business Industrialization Roundtable in Accra.
Government had a bit of a challenge in raising revenue. And so when government had that challenge, government said that, okay, fine, there's a way we can look at raising revenue. What do we do? let's make some components of the build-up a flat levy. That is, if it's a flat levy, then it simply means that you do not have to get the benefit of deducting that 5% that you paid on your purchases. Mm-hmm. For people in industry, it's a lot because depending on their purchases, it's a lot of money, mm-hmm. which increases their cost. And so that is why those in manufacturing said that that is a huge cost that is coming to us, and therefore government must look at it. I agree to a large extent that that is a cost that shouldn't have been introduced, because we ended up increasing the cost of doing business for industries, manufacturing companies, mm-hmm. and we've never found a way to be able to ameliorate it for them. Mm-hmm. And so even though it's bringing government revenue, it's creating a lot of distortions as far as the price build-up and cost build-up of manufacturing entities are concerned. Mm-hmm. And whenever they raise a concern, I agree that it's a cost that government must look at. There are other ways we can look at raising revenue than doing that decoupling and making VAT NHIL a flat levy and saying VAT should also run as a flat levy. Because as of now, the VAT rate, effective rate is 18.125. It's not 17.5, because the 12.5% is imposed on an amount that includes the 5%. Mm-hmm. So the VAT is actually 13.125, not 12.5%. And so whenever industry makes that argument that it is a cost that they don't want to bear, I agree.
The airline industry may suffer more as investors consider selling off their shares in some major airlines. Warren Buffett, the legendary American investor, for instance, has decided to sell off his firm's entire holdings in 4 major U.S. airlines like Delta, American, Southwest, and United Airlines. But what does this really mean? Bertha Twiga is a stock market analyst.
Let me say that such a person, it's an investment guru across the globe. And unlike, for instance, we have social media influencers, and this person happens to be an investment influencer. So taking such a decision to sell off his shares in these 4 major airlines in the industry is definitely going to have an adverse or a negative impact on the market. That's if their shares, well, people like that would definitely have some form of majority shareholding. And he stated that he doesn't see the future of the airline industry to be that positive, so the decision to sell off these shares. Now, if the market is going to be affected, shareholders that have shares in these companies are also going to be affected, because when such decisions are taken, it affects the entire market. Now, markets like that are efficient market. They are, unlike the Ghana Stock Exchange, that is not an efficient market. Such informations have great impact on the stock market. And then one other thing is that there's the possibility of seeing these shares actually slump in their prices on this exchange. So it's not a good thing for the airline industry, especially these 4 airlines that he's going to sell off his shares in, and it's not a good thing for the market as well.
Okay, so you point out that, Warren Buffett even says the airline industry is going to change forever because of COVID-19. And seeing that we are not going to see an end to the woes of the airline industry now, how can the airline operators protect their stocks? What can they do? It's like there's nothing they can do right now. Is there something they can do?
Well, for now, there's little they can do, or there's nothing they can really do, because as an airline industry, basically what brings in the money is that you are in business and the airlines are flying. But most, or let me say almost all airlines, apart from domestic flights, which have been given room to fly, are not flying. Borders are closed and you can't travel. And to protect their shareholders, what I can say is that definitely your prices are going to go down. But as to when this is going to end, this pandemic is going to end, would determine how they can actually protect their investors. If the pandemic should end soon, then within the short period, or after the pandemic, the bans have been lifted, then these airlines can put in strategies to actually cover up for some of the losses that they have made during this period. for someone who asks that they are regulated, their prices might be regulated, they can't go beyond some bond. But this is an industry, let me put it that way, it's an industry crisis, and they need to be able to cover up the losses that they have made. And one thing that we can also look at now is that when these airlines are finally, these bans are finally lifted, all other things being equal, demand might go up. Why am I saying demand for these airlines are going to go up? The lockdowns, the bans on international flights were, it's not something that was planned for. It just happened. And there are people that might be in countries or locations that they are not supposed to be now, but they find themselves there and they need to go back home to do business, to make ends meet. So if these people are in other locations and then these bans are lifted, no matter the cost, how much it will cost them to get a ticket to go back home, they will definitely pay for it. So demand, there's a possibility that demand for these flights is going to go up when bans are finally lifted. And there's also a possibility whereby people will want to relax on traveling to other countries because of this coronavirus pandemic.
Well, one thing is for sure, the aviation industry will not be the same after COVID-19. Tonight on the commodity market, crude oil trading at about $30 a barrel. Here's a look at the market numbers. Your business update tonight. Gary Al Smith is standing by with sports news.
And former Hearts of Oak defender Joado is backing his friend and former teammate at the national level, Siki Akono, to lead the Black Stars to end Ghana's long wait for the African title. The last time Ghana won was in 1982.
I think he has a very, very big job on his hand. I mean, it's a privilege for every former footballer to be at the helm of the Black Stars and where he is at. And congratulations first to him. My captain, Coach Kwesi Appiah, did a great job. You know, he didn't bring the ultimate, but I thought he did well. He introduced so many players that most of us don't even know into the national team. And now Siki is taking over. I hope he continues the same trend. And I wish him nothing but the best. But the job is a very difficult one. It's not easy. You have to know every Ghanaian is a coach. My mother is a coach, you know, my grandmother is a coach. Everybody in Ghana knows football. And he has to put his ears down, you know. Only a fool doesn't listen to advice. He has to put his ear down, listen to what people are saying, you know, take the criticism in a nice way, flip it and make it better for himself. And I think if he does that, he will be okay. The only thing we need in Ghana, I was watching sports back in the States and on a TV show, and the host was asking the viewers, and because most of his viewers I think were young, and he was asking them, have you guys seen a cup in Ghana before? Have you seen the Black Stars win a cup since you were born? Wow. And it hurts me when I hear that. It hurts me that it's been over 30 years, a great nation like Ghana in football, and we haven't won anything. But I think it's all about time, and eventually we are going to get there. I hope it's CK's time. You know, it's a difficult job. It's not easy. It's very, very difficult. But I believe that he knows what is at hand, and hopefully he will surround himself with the right people, listen to the right advices, take the criticism in a nice way, and bring out the best in the Black Stars.
So that's him talking about the current situation, but he took us back, way back when he was playing with some of the greats of yesteryear. He singled out Abedi Pele, Tony Yeboah, and Ali Ibrahim as players who never took their winning bonuses, or indeed their bonuses at all, back in the day.
our bonuses they were nothing. The $10 we had was just before we played the game. So like a week before the game, they start paying us the $10. So it would be like 5 days. So it would be $50. And then with our winning bonus back then, it was like 30 cedis or 40 cedis, something like that. And the good thing was the two professionals, which was Abedi Pele and Tony Yeboah, anytime they came, never took their bonuses. Never. They would say that their bonuses should be given to us.
Yeah.
You know, I see. All my time with the national team, Tony Yeboah, Abedi Pele, and Ali Ibrahim never took their bonuses.
Wow.
Even their per diems, they would tell me, I was the local captain, they would tell me to give it to the boys. Never took their money. It's amazing that, you know, they made money. They had families here. They could have taken that money to give their families, but they gave it to we, the local lads, and I thought that was great. Now,
Abedi Pele, Tony Yeboah, and Ali Ibrahim, they gave their bonuses to you, the home-based players.
Yes, always.
Wonderful.
Not
always.
One time. Always.
Consistently.
Tony was playing in Frankfurt. Ali Ibrahim was playing in Wattenscheid. They were all in Germany. And Abedi was playing for Marseille. And anytime they came in, our local players, we had a lot of local players, they will give their bonuses, their per diems, their winning bonus, whatever bonus they come. And sometimes they even gave us money on top of our bonuses.
I see.
Yeah, those are good times. And when we're playing and they are in front, we wanted to die for them because we knew if we win, they will give us bonuses even before the administrators.
Wow.
It was great.
Those are good times, he says. Anyway, moving on to matters involving the COVID-19 pandemic, the president of the Badminton Association of Ghana, Evans Yeboah, has lamented the impact of the virus on the association's plans for 2020. He spoke to Joy Sports.
Since January that this world pandemic was announced, it's really diverted our calendar of activities for the year. This year we had intended to expand our development and event programs, starting from our Badminton in Schools program, starting from our National Juniors Championship, and then also to participate in the World Juniors Cup, which we had qualified. Because when we went in 2017 in Indonesia, we were first in Africa and we were 21st in the world out of 61. Again, most of our Olympic qualifiers that we were supposed to have this year in ensuing for the Olympics coming off this summer, which has now been pushed to next year's summer, had also really affected it. Now we have to wait till the pandemic is over, and then our international federations can draw new qualifiers, a new calendar, and then we'll be able to participate in that. So for us, in terms of events, it has. In terms of development, it has.
Gary Al Smith, bye-bye.
All right, and that'll be all for the bulletin for this evening. My name is Israel Lai, and I've been doing this with...
My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Many thanks for watching. PM Express's Happiness. Enjoy the rest of your evening.